Before we get started with our video for today, know that we have one giant noof here, one smaller noof here, and they have been wrestling for like the past 5 minutes, so we really have no idea what this is going to be like, but here we go. Last week, when we shared the sad story of losing some of the mail order chicks that we had received, we mentioned that that was our first time dealing with vulnerable, fragile little beings of any sort. Holy cow, hatching babies took that to the next level, really. Seeing chickens through from shell to hatching really involved a lot of emotions. Some of them I expected for sure, but others were kind of surprising.
Yeah, and this was ranging, everything from excitement to anticipation, and I would also say amazement, like as we were candling the eggs and seeing the blood vessels and the chicks actually forming. Really, really cool.
Those emotions, I would say, are the ones that I think we expected those. And then some of the ones that we for sure experienced that we were not expecting was definitely uncertainty and doubting ourselves, and spoiler alert, but some grief and some guilt as well.
Moving the chickies downstairs.
We need to move them downstairs to make way for the little bitties that are gonna be hatching. This is a big day for our mail-ordered chicks because they are going to be making the transition from the first floor of the house down here to the basement, which is too cold for them without being fully feathered, but we do have a heat lamp that we're going to use. Just want to make sure when you're setting up a heat lamp that you have some form of redundancy, some sort of fail-safe for however you are securing it. This is actually a little puppy playpen that was my sister's to give a solid structure, both to set the heat lamp on and also to keep the chickens from hopping or flying out. I'm going to put a solid sheet of chicken wire over the top, sit the heat lamp directly on that or clamp it to that, and then I'm actually gonna tie it to the ceiling as well. That way, if anything would happen and it would get bumped, even if my clip fails, it's actually tethered to something else for safety. So we're gonna get them all set up and move down here today.
Overall, it was just such a great learning experience, really, not just for the kids, but for all of us in the family.
Even just learning the parts of the egg was really cool. An egg is something that you kind of take for granted because it becomes part of your almost everyday life, if not your daily life. To just crack open an egg from your refrigerator and take a close look at it after you know what to look for, that was really cool. Howdy. So I wanted to show you the parts of an egg and how very interesting they are. Here is an everyday common grocery store refrigerated egg. Eggs are fascinating. For starters, the shell, made of calcium carbonate, strong as anything. You can squeeze with all of your might and you will not break it unless there's already a fracture in the shell. So strong. The shell is porous and it allows for gas exchange to occur. I'm gonna crack this guy open and see if I can be gentle with it so that I can show you all of the parts. Perfect, this is gonna be a great one. So before I throw away the shell, now that I have cracked it open, a couple of things that I wanted to show you here on the inside. For one is this membrane here. You can see that there is a layer on the inside. That is the membrane that encases the growing chick. On one end of the shell, you can kind of see that round mass on the inside of the shell. It's a little bit shiny, and if I poke it, it almost feels like a bubble. You can see it moving there. That is the air cell or the air sac. And what will happen when the chick is ready to hatch is that it will use a little protrusion on its beak called the egg tooth to poke through the air cell, and that little area gives them several hours of air to breathe before they break through to the outside and can breathe room oxygen. The egg white or albumin, that is the liquid medium that keeps the chick suspended and protected inside of the shell, and it also will provide some nutrition for the chick. The yolk here is what is absorbed by the chick at the end of their development to give them the reserve that they need until they get their first food and water. If you see this tiny little white spot here on the top of the yolk, that is called the germinal disc. If this was a fertilized egg, that little spot would be where the cells would start to multiply and is what eventually turns into the chick. And then down here, that white substance, you can also see that there's another one up here. Those are called the chalazi, and what they do is they kind of act like seatbelts, more or less. They are attached to the sides of the shell, and they keep the yolk in place and keep it from bursting inside of the shell. If you ever took an egg and shook it up and then cracked it, you would probably notice that the yolk is still intact. That is because the functioning chalazi. Who knew that an egg could be so amazing? So much of what happens with the developing chick is not seen by your eyes because the shell, you can't see through it. But you can use just a flashlight, your cell phone, or you can use an actual tool called an egg candler. You can put the egg on the candler at different parts throughout the development. It was really cool to be able to see inside of the shell.
So we did that process kind of at the beginning, middle, and end of the life cycle. It's crazy how quickly they grow, and the way that you can see just like a little red dot at the beginning to the middle where they're starting to dance around, and then at the end where they're just crammed in there moving as much as they can. Yeah.
It was kind of like going for your first ultrasound when you're pregnant for the first time. Handle some of our eggs, which is a fun part of the incubating and hatching process. So I borrowed this 7-egg incubator from my sister. She has hatched successfully with it a couple of times. In order for a fertilized egg to become a chicken, number 1, it needs heat. Number 2, it needs humidity. And number 3, it needs to be turned regularly. The heat factor, you just set the temperature that you want. For chicken eggs, it's around 99.5 to like 100 degrees, so it keeps it at a steady temperature. As far as the humidity goes, there's a little pot back here, and you fill it up to this little dashed line on the back for the first 18 days. And then for the last 3 days, you fill this up to the tippy top so that it really pumps up the humidity. Every 45 minutes, this will rotate a little bit so that the eggs turn. All of this is mimicking a mother hen and what she does in nature. She sits on those eggs pretty much nonstop, even foregoing food and drink for the most part so that she can keep them warm. And if you've ever watched a mama sit on a nest, oh look! A mama hen, when she's broody on her nest, every once in a while she will stand up and kick and scratch the eggs to move them around. These are just things that nature knows, which is so amazing to me. The reason that they do that is because if the eggs aren't turned, the chick will actually stick to the membrane inside of the shell, and that can be life-threatening to them. Today is around day 8 in our cycle. And you are supposed to candle your eggs every once in a while so that you can verify that they are growing, because if they are not growing, then they will rot. I'm gonna take you back into our dark bathroom and candle these eggs so that hopefully we can see some growth and you can see what it looks like inside of the shells. I just washed my hands. Always clean your hands before you handle your eggs. Here is our candler. I don't know if you'll be able to appreciate it on camera.
Yeah, I can see it.
We're seeing here with our eyes, but you can actually see the little teeny chick in there moving.
Like suspended.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, you can see it there.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
That's so cool. This is our pink shelled egg. If you see the line that kind of goes around the top of the egg here, that is the air cell or the air sac. A lot of our eggs have shells that are really dark in color, and it is nearly impossible to see inside of those shells with the candler. So what we're trying to do is just keep track of the air cell, because if that grows, then that's a good indication that the chick is growing as well. Okay, now is the time in the show where we are going to ask and answer some very basic egg questions that I know at one point in time I had myself before I had any experience with this, and maybe some of you out there have the same questions.
4 days till the eggies hatch.
Okay, question number 1. Can a grocery store egg become a chick?
The answer to that is, under normal circumstances, no. The eggs that are sold at the grocery store are laid by hens that are separated from males. Can a rooster occasionally slip in and cause you a yucky surprise when you crack open your egg? Yes, but 99.9999% of the time that you are cracking open an egg at home, it has not been fertilized. There is no chance that it could become a chick. It is Wednesday and hatching day on these little babies is Saturday. Clark is here. We're checking him out and kind of making sure that we're reading over the instructions and getting everything good to go. I was taking a look. I'm trying to not jostle the eggs around. The eggs started rocking back and forth. It was really cool to see it moving.
Question number 2, what about farm fresh eggs?
That was a question that kind of puzzled me because I know a lot of my friends sell eggs for people to consume, but I also knew that they had roosters at their house. The answer to that question most of the time is that yes, you actually are eating a fertilized egg. When you have a rooster on your farm, but you are collecting eggs for eating, you have to collect them every day. If you collect your eggs every day, then there has not been enough time for that egg to be incubated, for any sort of development to have occurred.
So that stops?
Yes, it stops.
If the hen isn't keeping it warm.
Yes. So yeah, when you're getting farm fresh eggs, if there's a rooster on the farm, you actually are eating a fertilized egg that, had all of the other things happened, could turn into a chick. It is not anywhere near being a chick. It is essentially an egg that has the potential to become a chick if all of the conditions are right. So not gross, totally safe. Just have to collect your eggs every day if you have a rooster. We are approaching day 21 on our eggs. Today is Thursday and our eggs are scheduled to be hatching on Saturday. So in order to prepare, as we already showed you, we did move the big girls downstairs yesterday. They're doing great. They seem to really like it down there. I don't know, I feel like with having a little bit more space, they aren't picking at each other as much and they seem more calm and happy. My mission for the day, in addition to cleaning the house, and when I hear something gross, I just mopped the floors for the very first time since we have lived here. And yes, we have lived here for months now, so that was disgusting, but I swear that I'm gonna do it more often now that I did it for the first time. I'm more of a vacuumer and sweeper, not really a mopper. But anyway, mission of the day. I have the old brooder set up down here that the big girls were using. I am trying to sanitize it, or at least clean it very, very well and let it dry out completely so that I can get the setup ready for the new chicks. The new chicks are gonna be very susceptible to illness. I wanna make sure that their brooder is very clean, so I'm gonna keep working on that here.
Question number 3, does a fertilized egg have to be incubated immediately?
No, it does not. Remember how we ordered chickens in the mail? You can actually order fertilized eggs in the mail and then incubate them. You can keep those eggs inside for like 7 to 10 days, even sometimes up to 2 weeks before you put them in the incubator. And once they start being in the incubator at that consistent temperature, then they will start to grow. So I thought that was kind of crazy. They do recommend that you store them. I think the recommended temperature is like 60-ish degrees, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. I feel like a proud mama. We have Pips and Peeps. Tomorrow is hatching day. I came out to check on the eggs this morning. We have 2 official Pips so far. A Pip is the first little crack or pop that you see in the shell. We have a little Pip there, and we have a little Pip there. So we're gonna keep an eye on these babies today. It's really sweet. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it on here, but if you're quiet, you can hear them peeping.
Question number 4, how long is a chicken and egg?
So that's different based on bird, but for a chicken, they are in the egg for 21 days from the time you start incubating. What did we find, bud? Yeah, we have the biggest Pip yet. This one's ginormous.
This one right hatched today.
Okay, that should be good, buddy. Thank you. That chicken says, get me out. So I am actually glad that I have some other commitments today, because if I didn't, I'm pretty sure that I would just stand here and watch these eggs all day, because it is just absolutely fascinating. We have 3 Pips now. We have lots of peeping going on, lots of egg movement going on.
Question number 5, can you help a chick hatch?
That's a tricky one. We're gonna get into that a little bit more later, but I will say you shouldn't, but sometimes you need to read the situation. Oh, so you let me out. So it is a happy birthday for 2 of our chicks so far. 6 of the 7 pipped today. I don't know about the 7th because I haven't really seen any activity there. If you hear the peeping, that is because 2 of them have fully emerged. I was not anticipating this part to be as stressful as it is, but The incubator is on lockdown, which means that even though these cute little chicks are in there and sometimes look like they really could use our help, we cannot open the incubator. If we open it, the temperature and the humidity will drop drastically, which will put all of the eggs that have pipped and not yet hatched in jeopardy. If the humidity drops, what will happen is that the membrane of those pipped eggs will shrink wrap and tighten on the babies, and then they will not be able to hatch out. They'll essentially be stuck in there. As much as I want to help these chicks out and reposition and dry off, I really can't do anything right now, and it's a little tough. The first several days of incubating are kind of slow and you don't really do a whole lot. The machine does everything for you. And then at the end, it was like boom, 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 everything happening, all the nerves, all the feelings, all the chaos, really. Both of our olive eggers have hatched so far, and I feel so bad for this one because it is stuck upside down. Yes, those are its feet right there. You can see that it's a little bit stuck, but it's still breathing okay. Honestly, it needs to rest anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. If it really, really looks like it's stuck or in pain, or if it starts breathing labored, then I could try to shimmy the incubator maybe. It's gonna get mighty cramped in here because those shells don't go anywhere, and we're only gonna have more chicks. Oh yeah, but another cool thing I wanted to show you, chicks actually do have a belly button. That is something that I learned through this process. And if you see that little red spot right there, that is not the chick's bottom. That is actually its belly button. We're gonna have another one joining the circus here very soon. Both of my blue guys down here are coming along.
It was really hard to watch them, like, once they hatch, because you have to let them go until they all hatch. And so they're crammed in there, their shells are still in there with them.
That part was a lot harder than we anticipated because you really want to help them and you can't. Number 6 is here. We have a chick pileup of 1, 2, 3 chicks that are all crammed in there. Do you see the little feet? Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So this egg right there, it's really hard to see it. That is the remaining egg that has not hatched yet. That is lucky number 7. Basically, from day 18 onward, the incubator goes into lockdown. The eggs don't get turned anymore, and you kind of let nature run its course because the eggs need the consistent temperature and they need the humidity. I'm not 100% positive that the last one is going to hatch, so we're just gonna be patient and ride it out here for a little bit and see what happens. If the chick is able to hatch, as soon as it hatches, then we'll go ahead and open up the incubator to get the shells out and give them more space. And then we will keep them in there until they are dry and fluffy before we move them over to the brooder. We're happy that we have 6 of 7 so far. That's really exciting, and honestly more than I thought we would get. Like 6 of our chicks hatched within a couple of hours, and then we had this one remaining egg that was a lagger for a long time. Like the other chicks had been in there for over 24 hours. Yes, they have a reserve, so food and drink wise they were okay, but they were staying wet in there forever. So that's when we had to start making tough decisions. When you are hatching chicks, sometimes unfortunately you have to make decisions that are not the easiest. They pip through, they break the shell, and then they unzip. They basically work away at that membrane layer and the shell around one of the ends, and then they stretch and pop through, which we saw with all of the other ones. This one pipped overnight last night, and it hasn't been a full 24 hours, so that's why this was a tough decision to make, because there is a chance that this egg could still hatch. But the problem is that the other chicks that have hatched now 24 hours ago are still soaked. It wouldn't be a big deal if they were drying off to let this egg in there for another day and see what happens, but I don't like the fact that they are still almost as wet as they were when they hatched. We made the decision to go ahead and break the lockdown. We got the shells out of there and we have taken the moisture way down so that these other chicks can dry. Because we did that, it's really unlikely that this other egg is gonna hatch, and I don't like being the one to make that decision. but I also don't want the 6 chicks that we have that were able to hatch to not thrive because they can't dry off. Tough decision. It doesn't feel good to make choices like that, but unfortunately it just is the reality sometimes. So we're gonna hope that these other guys and girls dry off quickly and that we can get them over into the brooder maybe before bedtime tonight. So we made some tough calls tonight, which I already mentioned. We went ahead and took the shells out. Unfortunately, in that process, when we were repositioning things and closing things back up, one of the chicks did get caught and unfortunately didn't make it. I know, here I go again. I just feel bad because it's not the life that I was supposed to give it, and I hate that it was caused by me. We have another one in here that is just a little bit weak right now, and that feels more natural to me. You know, not all chicks that hatch are gonna make it. That's just part of the process, but I hate that the one that we lost was my error. So I am still learning, but I am human, and so I am sharing that with you. But I do think that we definitely made the right call in moving them over to the brooder. Their peeping in the incubator was the scared, stressed peeps. We've got very quiet, peaceful peeps in here, and pretty much the instant that we put them under their heat plate, they started puffing up because they're drying. I'm gonna let them warm under the heat plate and puff up a little bit more before I introduce them to their water. I don't know that all of these boys and girls are gonna stay with us because, like I said, there is one that's looking pretty weak and lethargic, but I'm hopeful that some of them will, and we're trying our best. I'm not going to dwell on the sad parts, and I'm not going to dwell on the grief because last week was heavy and I took you there with me and we felt all the feels. But I will just say that the loss of the chick in the incubator was the hardest loss that we have experienced so far because it was my fault. The chick got caught in the middle. I did it. I killed that chick because I didn't know what to look for, and so that was really hard. It happened. We can't make it unhappen.
We know now.
We know now. We learned from it, and it won't happen to us again in the future. And hopefully by somebody out there watching this video, you can know what to look for specifically with your incubator when you are getting ready to move your chicks about, and hopefully it won't happen to you. Good morning. It is Sunday. We believe, they're all playing peekaboo. We think that all 5 of our chicks that got over to the brooder last night survived. There are some good signs in that there is some poop on the paper over by their food, so I think they came out at least once overnight. And then I have an update for you over on the other side. Even though yesterday was a hard day with making tough decisions, these chicks definitely needed in the brooder to dry off and perk up with some food and water. So for as tough as it was and the accident that we had, it was still necessary. All in all, hatching was awesome. I'm so glad that we did it. We love our other chicks. We enjoy them as well, but to see these guys through from shell to a living being now,
Right.
it was just extra fun. And here is the unexpected surprise development of the day. So I came out this morning. There was still an egg in the incubator, which had not hatched, and so I thought, okay buddy, you've had 24 hours since you pipped. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna unplug it and call it. So I unplugged the incubator, and no sooner did I unplug it than I started to hear cheeping from inside of the egg very loudly, and I thought, there's no way that I'm just gonna be able to listen to this thing suffer. It is definitely still alive in there, which I was not expecting. Took a look at the egg. Because of us opening and closing the incubator numerous times to get the other chicks taken care of, I could tell that this one had become shrink wrapped in its shell. And once it is shrink wrapped, there's really nothing that it can do to get out. If you read a lot of the literature, it tells you that you really shouldn't help them to hatch. But I felt like because the reason that it couldn't hatch was because of our doing with opening the incubator when we knew that we weren't supposed to, that I would at least give it a shot at life. So I opened the incubator, I gave the membrane a little tug, and out the chick popped. And it is getting around and doing okay. So I told the little chick, I said, all right, I gave you a shot at life, now you get to decide what to do with it. So I did my part because I had sort of interrupted its hatching yesterday. So we'll see. All right, little guy. We gave you a little extra shot that you weren't really supposed to have. So the rest is up to you.
Hi, sweetie.
Can you guys welcome this one and warm it up?
Yeah, we've not named the chicks just yet, like we named the other ones. We don't know which ones are boys and girls yet. We've just held off because we won't be keeping any of the roosters.
Of the 6 chicks that are remaining, I would guess that 4 are hen. So I'm gonna estimate good odds, but time will tell. It's pretty remarkable with these little chicks how well they are doing. I cannot really wrap my brain around the fact that a couple of weeks ago we brought these things home as room temperature eggs, stored them in our basement for a day, and then popped them in a warm incubator for 3 weeks. What started as a fertilized egg turned into cell after cell after cell of growth, and here we have these live cute little things. I broke the rules. I helped that last baby to hatch, and in a way, I feel like that little chick was kind of a gift to me for the one that I lost, which felt terrible. He's really doing well, and today was the first day where I had a hard time even picking out which one was him. I truly feel like they're mama hen.
You are so cute. Yes, you are.
You gonna poop for everybody?
Next time.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to say officially in a video because it happened after I had made the last one, but we monetized. So thank you so much. You guys knew that we had the amount of subscribers that we needed, but we needed watch hours. We officially crossed that threshold last week. So now more than ever, your views are extra appreciated. You are helping us to grow and just continue to push ourselves with this channel. So we're really excited.
So, as always, thank you so much for watching.
Oh, there's a blue hair.
If you...
Do you see it? Can you see it?
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's really cool.
Can't see it, but a blue heron just flew
Ah.
past. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Here, hold on.
Wow.
Oh, the battery's gonna die. The battery's gonna die. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it.
Arlo's
say
like,
bye, Speedy,
what
quick.
is that? It's huge. As always, thank you so much for watching. Next time, we'll be giving you an update on the coop. Here's a quick sneak peek.
That's all you get.
Thank you,
Come back
guys.
next time. See ya. Sorry, we're trying to get our positioning correct so that we're blocking the sun here and so that you can see our faces. This feels awkward.
Sorry.
There's one little dog currently sitting, well, she's not little, she weighs like 50 pounds now. There is one small, agility.
Sorry, it's like a little spot.
It's all right. All right, check 1, 2. Am I good?
Good.
All clear? All right.
When it was down here, but then I still see the tether. Here, if you stand, let me just...
What's the opposite of translucent? Opaque?
Yeah, I guess you would call it opaque. It's solid.
Opaque? I think it's opaque,
Oh,
isn't
opaque. Should probably.
it? We will look that up.
Yes, I think
Pretty sure
you're right.
it's
I think it's a Q.
Q-U-E. I don't think it's like plague. I think it is
I think
opaque.
people say that word though.
I think you are wrong.
Okay.
Anyway, it was, oh my gosh. Take the camera down. You have to stay.
I have to block the sun.
Yes,
This
just
is
don't
so
move.
bad.
Okay, take 3. Oh my gosh. Us? Oh my word.
He's walking in the
He's
background.
peeing.
Oh, nice.
We're gonna never get through this. Oh my word, you guys, you're making this impossible. But yeah. As the dogs tackle each other in the background here. But I'm sure that egg candling.
I need to do this.
Okay, quick, because we're down to 1 bar.
Oh my gosh. What?
Go.